If you have ever stared at a blinking Instagram cursor not knowing what to write for an Instagram post, or you have recorded a whole bunch of Instagram stories, but then you deleted them all before you could hit publish, you are in the right place because this episode is for you. In this episode, I'm going to show you all of the missing pieces that you need for your Instagram, because I believe that every business owner should be able to show up on the platform and grow their business if they have the right content strategy in place. So leading up to our rebrand, our team was very strategic about the types of content that we were posting before our new website went live. And you could definitely see the fruits of our labor by the DMs that we were getting in our inbox. So if you remember back to elementary school, you probably remember the 5 W's, who, what, when, where, why. So I'm going to walk you through some of those W's in order for you to really flesh out this content strategy. And we're going to actually start with the why. This is the why are you on Instagram? How does being on Instagram fit into your overall content marketing strategy? What is your main goal for being there? So for ours, showing up on Instagram, this is one of the only places that we communicate with our audience in real time. The main goal of our Instagram is to create that connection and build those relationships. So we spend a lot of time on Instagram stories creating educational content because 80% of the time we are strictly there to build those connections and build that relationship. So then the other 20% of the time, whenever we want to show up and actually sell something, our audience is receptive to that because we have laid those roots down with our overall content strategy. So starting with identifying your big picture why. How does Instagram fit into your marketing strategy? Then you need to develop your why around each piece of content that you are creating. And pro tip here, it does not always have to be about generating sales. You see, about 95% of the time whenever I go to Dunkin', I always make sure to share it onto my Instagram stories. And that's because I want people, whenever they drive past a Dunkin' coffee or if they're drinking their own iced coffee, I want them to think about Carrie Love Designs. That's because, I don't know if you've ever noticed this before, but hit the like button if you have. If you've been watching the show This Is Us, you have noticed that they use a whole bunch of Apple products. Or if you watch Queer Eye on Netflix, then you notice that they always do close-up shots of the Fab 5 GMC truck. This is actually called product placement. It's to raise brand awareness. And you'll see it's actually a $23 million industry. But since we as service providers don't have a product to place, I have coined this reverse product placement. I am connecting our brand to a larger corporation or a larger brand. And so I don't know if there's actually a term for that, but that is what I have coined it. And so now this seemingly small Instagram story has a larger purpose in our greater content marketing strategy. So that is one way where, showing up and having a strategy for your Instagram is really helpful. So before you post any piece of content, from your grid to your stories to reels, it needs to have a goal in mind. I go into a lot more detail about this inside of our next level Instagram workshop. I'll post about that down below if you want to get access, but we are not in the game of posting content just for the sake of creating content. And so you need to keep that goal in mind for literally every single piece of content that you post on Instagram, because the way that you show up on Instagram for your business is a lot different than just scrolling and posting stuff on your personal Instagram. So be aware, how is this Instagram grid post moving the needle in my business? And that can be really seemingly small, like that reverse product placement story, or a larger goal like filling up your spring mini sessions. So I'm currently reading a book called Atomic Habits, and inside the book, the author talks about this compounding process. Basically, what the idea is of compounding process is that you are showing up on your Instagram day after day after day. You have created this habit of showing up on Instagram, having this goal in mind, whether it's that big goal or that small goal. You are laying deep roots. So whenever you go to have a deeper purpose, like selling something, like filling up spots, you can do so because you have this compounding process that you have been building up to. This could be like showing up for the next 6 months, creating that educational, connecting content to your audience. So the next time you have something to sell, you can. But beforehand, we got to back up. I'm going to come back to this at the very end. I'm going to show you how to measure the success of your content. But first, we have to talk about the who, not the band, for all my rock listeners out there. You have to know who your who is. Who is your ideal client? Because that's really going to help you understand what type of content to create. For if you are a brand photographer, then creating a post about your top 3 favorite wedding venues just really doesn't make a lot of sense. But if you create a post that talks about your top 3 places for branding sessions, then that of course makes sense for your ideal client. Now, I go into a lot more detail about how to find your ideal client in this video. And so if you haven't, I will post that down below so that you can bring that up in another tab and watch it after this. Knowing who your ideal client is going to be very important to having and reaching that goal of your overall goal of being on Instagram. So for all of our signature experience clients, we actually create an ideal client avatar for them. We always have this demographic, this demographic that we are trying to reach, that could be women ages 25 to 40. But it's really helpful to have one singular person in mind because it's going to help you connect whenever you are creating an Instagram post. You can say, our ideal client, her name is Callie. Does this connect with Callie? Is this something that she would be interested in? And it just kind of demystifies this overall ideal demographic and brings it home to one person so you can think about that singular person. So knowing your who, you just want to keep that ideal client in mind whenever you are posting content. So I'm going to show you actually using a program that we called Hashtag Slayer, how to look at your insights and find what content is working for you. So if you're on Hashtag Slayer, if you come down to insights, this is the reason why I really like this, because of the way that the insights are laid out. I'm actually going to go to the last 30 days and you'll be able to see that it shows you your accounts reached, your impressions, your profile conversion rate, which is how often your profile visits turn into follows. So I love that. Also your click-through rates, because you are running a business and you eventually want to get somebody off the platform and taking action, whether that is filling out your inquiry form, signing up for an email list, that your click-through rate is going to be really important. So this is how often your profile visits turn into website taps, emails, calls, text. So this one is really cool to see. But talking about published content, this is going to show you, your impressions, your reach, how content is doing. And so I really like being able to see this view as well as your top hashtags for best reaching posts. And so I like Hashtag Slayer because I can come in here and I can see, oh, this post got 2 saves. Oh, this post got 2 saves. And I can start to see what type of content, whether it is a video, carousel, what type of content is really jiving with our audience and is going to create more engagement. And so you can see right here, our engagement rate of likes, comments, saves, total content engagement. I wish they did shares on here as well. But showing this Hashtag Slayer is a really cool way to see your analytics outside of the platform so that you can see what's really working, monitor your Instagram content, and create better content that's going to actually serve your audience and serve the greater purpose, greater goal of your Instagram. So if you can really understand your big picture why of being on Instagram, your goal for every single piece of content that you create, and you can nail down and speak to your ideal client, then you will start creating really good content and better content that serves you and your audience. Keep in mind the idea of that compounding process that Instagram it's the slow burn, it's the marathon, not the posting, one-time sprint. So if you want to dive deeper into creating a content strategy that grows your business, then I recommend checking out our Next Level Instagram workshop, which you can find down below. It's inside of the CLD shop, and so you can check that out. If you need to stop and understand who your ideal client is, then we are teeing that video up next for you. But if you found this content helpful, hit that like button so that I know, and hit that subscribe button so that you can get more content like this. Now, if you have stuck around till this point in the video, then you for sure are the real MVP. Comment down below with MVP so that I know that you made it this far. And here is to working smarter, not harder, and I will see you next week for another episode.